What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Save Point Podcast, Episode 6. I am Alex, and thank you for being here. Happy Saturday. I'm excited to be back in the normal day, the normal time, and the normal general idea of the show. So we got a main topic today. I want to review House of Ashes entirely. I beat it real time. I beat it like 30 minutes ago. I had a 1 hour break, and besides that, I've been playing it ever since I woke up. I didn't keep track very specifically of how long it took me, but I feel like it only took me 5 hours, which is around the line of what the walkthroughs are. If you keep everybody alive, I think 5 hours is about how long you're going to get. So, we're going to jump kind of right into it. We're going to read your guys' questions and topics. I asked you guys on the community tab, which I will continue to do, and you can submit questions and topics for me there. Also, if you guys are a patron/YouTube member, which you can sign up for $2 a month or $5 a month, the join button is next to the subscribe button. That's how you do the YouTube stuff or the YouTube memberships. And then Patreon, the link's in the description. If you support me, if you support us there, you will be guaranteed to for me to read your stuff. You also get an exclusive video a month, yada yada yada. But that's a way of guaranteeing you guys are part of the show. With that being said, let's jump right into it. House of Ashes is by a mile the best Dark Pictures game yet, and that makes me very relieved, very happy. Over the last 2 months, there's been a lot of stuff to derail the whole Alex is so negative at everything train. Now, you can maybe make the argument for movies, because it does seem like all of the modern movies I'm watching, I tend to despise. And by the way, that is kind of kidding and also maybe kind of serious over the last little while. However, you cannot come at me with that argument in terms of games. Life is Strange was phenomenal. Kena Bridge of Spirits was phenomenal. Deathloop was okay. Not bad, not good, in my opinion. And we've reviewed a lot of these, by the way, and here we are now. And you know what? The skeptic in me, the narcissist, or whatever. I don't even know I'm not very good with the English language, but I really wasn't expecting much with this game. Again, as I've told people before, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I lowered my expectations so far down that the game came out. It's like, holy Jesus, this game's good. So let me just say this. Let me say the negatives first, because there's honestly not that many, but I do want to talk about them, and then I'll talk about the positives. And this is not going to spoil anything, by the way, so you can watch this. If you haven't played the game yet, or if you haven't finished the game yet. The weakness is the engine, the graphics. It looks dated. Honestly, it's looked dated for a while. My wife caught maybe the last hour and a half of me playing the game, and she said, "This looks awful." And I said, "Do you mean like the game itself, or you mean like visually?" And she said, "No, visually the game looks awful." And I don't think it looks. She just says it straight. You know what I mean? That's why I love her. But I don't think it looks downright horrible. But I would say faces are the only respectable / good thing, maybe like keeping up with the modern times, right? So if you're comparing it to all the current games, current time games, which I don't feel like you shouldn't, I feel like you should, considering it is. Now it's 5 hours long, it's $30, it's not the full price, but they come out yearly. Supermassive made Until Dawn, which is one of my favorite games just ever. And again, have they ever reached Until Dawn? No. House of Ashes doesn't come close, again, to Until Dawn, but it's much better than the other two. So while I guess it's not the greatest thing of all time, it definitely, is an improvement. But the faces still look good. I think the faces look like the people that they're supposed to be, I guess the actors or actresses that are playing them. But everything else is very much outdated. And I will say, to my point, that I have made actually yearly. Every single year one of these games come out, I always revisit the point that I really don't like the strategy of releasing 8 games in 8 years. Now, originally, remember, the plan was 8 games in 4 years. These games would come out every 6 months, and that is just ridiculous. That's never going to happen. And since they said that or started it, they have not been able to do it, not one time. Each game has come out 1 year after the next. Okay, so here we are, we're 3 years in, and we're on game 3. There's still technically 5 left. Now, the next game has the title, The Devil in Me, and it says Season 1 finale. Maybe they take a couple years off and then do the other 4. That's what I would personally like, but it needs an overhaul, because visually, textures, it does not look good. I will say that at all. It absolutely, nothing of that kind of stuff stands out. Honestly, that's kind of where the weaknesses start, and I would argue it takes too long to get down into the tombs. You really, I don't want to spoil it. You're kind of in there to start, and then let's just say for the first hour 15, maybe hour and a half, you are not in the tombs with your characters that you see, in the base game. And, when I was playing it, so again, it's very transparent, it's very honest, because follow me through here. When I was playing it during that hour and a half, it was fine, and you're understanding these characters and getting to know these characters. At the time, I did think, wow, it's taking a while to get in the tombs. And then there are some times in the tombs where it's like, okay, I don't really know what the point is here. Can we just keep it moving, get it moving? So there were moments of like, I feel like the game actually could have been shorter than 5 hours, maybe like 4 hours, because you could have cut stuff out. Yet again, being honest and transparent, when you're playing through it, and when you get to the end, and I wouldn't even say the end, just key situations with your characters, I actually kind of respected that they gave us time. Because then I was thinking, well, like in Until Dawn, like you need time to get to know your characters. You just do. And like if you're in the tombs and you're being hunted the whole time, you can't really, you're not going to learn that much about them or get to know them emotionally that well. Now you did, actually, they did a really good job, but you can only do so much. You need to have you need to establish them first. And so in order to do that, you do need to have a lot of downtime, and their version of downtime was, before they got into the tombs. Which, so again, like in the moment, I felt like maybe it dragged, but at the, looking back at it, I'd say I was okay with it. But man, everything else, and honestly, that wasn't even, the visuals are easily the worst part, okay? Then everything else is like minor complaints, and then everything besides the, the bad stuff, all the good stuff is good, is exactly the word. I have been very critical of the performances of these characters in the first two games. I thought Until Dawn, they were phenomenal, flawless. Now, of course, you don't like everybody like Emily, but you're supposed to not like her. She's supposed to come across that way. So I would say in terms of acting, they nailed it. Man of Medan and Little Hope, no thank you. I think the acting was one of, if not the worst things about both those games. And going into this game, one of the characters, Nick, we've actually seen him before. I believe he was a character in Man of Medan, correct me if I'm wrong, and I actually really liked him. He wasn't my favorite, but I definitely liked him. And going into it, I thought, okay, well, Ashley Tisdale is kind of being billed as like the main thing. She can't really, I don't think she can carry something on her own, so she's really going to need help. Can she do it? Well, the answer to the question, again, without spoiling anything, everybody pitches in. She was fantastic. Ashley Tisdale did a really good job, but everybody did a good job. This is not, see, like Little Hope, and I think Andrew was his name, right? I forget a lot of their names. He was pretty good, I'd say, the entire time, but everybody else had their ups and downs, and it was almost like he was trying to carry the game, and you can only do so much. So, again, like one of the reasons why this game is far better, in my opinion, is it was just good. Everybody was good. You didn't have to worry about a cutscene or a segment of the game with these two characters that are just horrible. They're horrible people, or they're horribly acted. You don't have to worry about that. And that's, I thought that about the last two games. I know not everybody thought that, but I personally thought that. And so I was really, really happy with the acting, the performance, the tension. Now, I played on medium, and I think some people told me like they upped the difficulty, like Supermassive, to make it a little bit harder, because Little Hope was very easy. Little Hope, you really had to try in order to mess up. Like, in order to mess up, you had to purposely be bad, in my opinion. And and if you want people to die, you had to be extra bad. In this game, oh, no. On medium, it's, so I got everybody alive. I survived, but there was specifically at the end, I won't spoil it, but I'll tell you in terms of difficulty, in the end, every character has this moment where if you fail a quick time with them 2 times, they die. And each of the characters, I failed 1 time each. So like the pressure was on. I was like gripping the control. I was scared. And again, here's the thing. Until Dawn did that so well because, number one, I think the quick time was just done really well. Now here, sometimes the quick time's done well. I never have thought that any of these games have reached what they've just done with quick time with Until Dawn. Maybe it's because you can only do that once, and then any other time seems repetitive, and the new stuff they've tried just has never really held up. But maybe I would maybe say that's a weakness. Like, there's definitely tension there. I'm definitely afraid for these characters' lives, which is a good thing. That means I care about them. And I feel like under pressure to perform these quick times. But I don't necessarily love them all, specifically just actually, like, there's the aiming ones, there's the mashing ones, and then there's hitting, say, triangle before the timer is up. Those ones are very hard on medium difficulty. They are insanely difficult, and I didn't mess up many of them, but, like, sometimes I did. And it didn't result in anything bad happening, but, like, there's never... very rarely is there two of those kind of quick times back to back. So it's tough. It's not the most perfect thing in the world. I also felt like decisions definitely had an impact. Again, like in terms of the story they were trying to tell and push forward, I did feel like things can come back to haunt you. I did a little bit reading. I watched a couple videos in terms of, what can happen if certain people go and when certain people could go. It's kind of obvious when you're playing it, but there's some circumstances where, maybe you can't see it coming. It's good. It's another benefit, I would say, of this game that I personally don't lean into, again, because none of these games have really stood out as much as Until Dawn, but they're there in terms of, playing it again. Until Dawn, I played it multiple times. I really tried to look for every single variation, every single ending, every single branch, all of that stuff. That game was just very important to me. This game, not as important, but still I'd like to know, what can happen. And but again, you can kind of feel it, and there's definitely some cool things that can happen in terms of you do this, or you do that, and characters, the characters, I don't want to go too far into spoilers, but it's interesting. It is. And then the base story was pretty solid too. The monsters were pretty awesome, and there was a little bit of lore there. I'm happy with it. I am. 5 hours, $30. Now, that's not going to appeal to everybody. I know there's some people on my channel that are sticklers with their money, which is fine. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, where the game needs to be 500 hours for it to be worth $60, but that's kind of an exaggeration, kind of not. I mean, obviously the game's not going to be for everybody, and it literally does nothing new. Again, that's why the whole 8 games in like an 8-year thing, and they've said like they're not going to do new mechanics, new anything during that time. They're just going to be they're going to change locations and characters and storytelling devices, but they're not going to add like new mechanics to the gameplay, which sounds okay, but then it's like when you're literally doing the same thing every time. Again, what that really means is it's an Until Dawn game. It's a Man of Medan game. So if you're expecting this game to just suddenly be something else, that's not, what this game is. But I think everybody's kind of smart enough to have, spotted that about the game. But I'm impressed. I really am. I feel like I'd be impressed even if I wasn't expecting very little, but I was. I went in, and actually, again, as I've told you guys before, my expectations for all of these games, maybe Man of Medan has been a little different. Just be better than the game before it. That's my rule. Man of Medan, I don't even know really what I was expecting. That game was just a huge letdown for me overall, and I was not expecting that game to be better than Until Dawn. I don't really remember my expectations were set, but ever since that game, Little Hope, the goal was just to be better than Man of Medan, and it was. Granted, though, it wasn't anything special, and I really don't care about it all that much. Now, this game, it's like, okay, be better than Little Hope, right? And it is, I think, and I've seen this online. I think maybe not unanimously, but I think the general opinion is this game is far better than the other two. True. I will back up that statement, and that's good. Again, I don't know if it's going to leave like an everlasting impression on me. It definitely won't do the same thing Until Dawn did to me, but is it supposed to? You could argue that that's another reason or another negative about their strategy is none of these games are really leaving maybe an impression on you like Until Dawn did. And by the way, I'm not asking for like Until Dawn 2. I guess I'm just asking for like scale, size, acting, performance, like just capturing us like Until Dawn, which is, granted, is very difficult to do because that game, so unique, so original in its own way, and can you ever do that again? But I'm not literally asking for Until Dawn Part 2. I just want to make that, I guess, clear. But again, like, are these games supposed to do that? I don't think so. I think they're supposed to tell isolated stories with these characters that you get in, you play it, you can play it with friends, right? That's another aspect or dynamic of it that I never take advantage of, but that's definitely something out there. You can play with other people, and that adds a whole new layer. I've watched cartoons. If you guys know who Cartoons or Delirious, I know they've played these games before with each other. It's a new dynamic when you're playing, or they don't really take it very seriously either. So that's a new kind of dynamic to it that you don't get if you're all Mr. Serious, just playing the game and just seeing if it holds up. You get getting a different experience from it. So I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. Okay, I'm going to try and go rapid fire. I'm going to go through some of you guys' comments that you left on the community tab. Again, if you guys are patrons or any of that stuff or YouTube members, I'll be guaranteed to read your stuff. There's only 5, and one of them is very short, so we'll see if I can get through all of them. Juan says you should, which by the way, thank you, buddy. You should talk about how dangerous and often harmful the hype train is, not just for games, but for movies, books, entertainment, media in general. I think you have touched this topic slightly throughout your videos, but I think it's something important enough for a second consideration. Yeah, it is dangerous, and I have to, so for someone like me, I have to own up to like my sins, right? Because I don't think I'm as huge of a pusher of the hype train as some people like online think I am. I think a lot of people online, even people that I know watch a lot of my videos or watch all my videos or watch them, some of them still get sometimes the wrong message of, how extreme I am in one way or the other. But I when you make as many videos as me, and when you talk about as many things, and when when I express my disappointment or excitement or anger or frustration or happiness, all of those things are based off of hype, expectations for something, right? That's literally what... Now, here's what I will say, though. Everything in your life, everything, is built on expectations. You know what I mean? Or, if you don't expect something, that's a different category, but everything you have some sort of expectation for, okay? That's important to notice or note because that sometimes will get thrown around, or maybe forgotten in that way. So, yes, is the hype train dangerous? Of course it is, and we have to be careful. And I would say, really, you just have to be careful to not take it to the massive extremes of, getting yourself so into something that you get so disappointed that you take, like, threats against people or stuff like that. Like, I never support that stuff. However, I am one of the very rare few, I think, on YouTube that are okay with people complaining. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of, like, a recent example, but I've said it before in videos, right, where it's like, I'm not going to tell you to not get, or even, like, say Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights not getting a release window or month or date, okay? Now, should you attack them? Should you threaten them? No. But can you? I'm never telling people to do anything, right? Can you voice your frustration to them? I don't see why not. We're the paying customers, right? And you could say, well, Alex, that's built off of that expectation, or, well, actually it is. It is built off the expectation and the hype. But again, everybody's just got to keep, you got to keep it in here, right? Everybody's different. Everybody's their own unique person. I can only control so much on my channel. But no, I do agree. Hype is dangerous. It is. It just flat out is. But like Thanos says, it's inevitable. It really is. You're always going to have, and maybe hype on the opposite side of things too, right? Maybe you're going to be very, very negative about something before it comes out. Again, as long as you don't, I would say a couple things. One, about the, threats or attacks, but two, treading on maybe other people. So, like, say something like me, even with, let's pick the Eternals or Eternals, right? The movie. I'm not into that, like, at all. I'm pretty sure the movie got spoiled for me because people were sharing around the spoilers. But regardless, I'm not into it. I have really no opinion on it massively. So going into it, my expectations, my hype is very low. But I don't like to tread on other people. I don't like to tell people, like, well, everybody should think that this is going to be, a horrible thing. That's just how I am. I think it's easier to look good when you're leading into something to be more positive on it because it's tougher to sell being negative, right? You'll have people saying, well, you can't judge it based off of a trailer. You can't judge it based off a picture. So it's just easier to be positive. Although I've been negative of things, leading, like Aquaman 2. Like my opinion on that with Amber Heard and all that stuff. I have zero, intention to watch that movie by paying them any kind of money. It's just not going to happen. And I would say maybe I advise you to look at the Amber Heard situation, but I'm not forcing it. If you ultimately go see the movie, who cares? I control my life, you control your life. And so those are, important distinctions to, remember. It's also important to remember that the people that do the threats and do the, all of that stuff, they seem like normally children. They seem like very low intellectual people. They seem like internet warriors or keyboard warriors, people that just kind of can hide behind things where, other people cannot. And because you can hide behind things, you can be more vocal without suffering any consequences. That's where a lot of those people, are born. And that's just kind of important to, to realize. So thank you for the question, buddy. I always appreciate it. Break Ops, thanks again, or thank you for your thing. What's your impression on the game? Is it better than Man of Medan or Little Hope? Are you excited for the revealed Season 1 finale of The Dark Pictures, The Devil in Me? Thanks, Alex. You're welcome. So, well, a couple things, because I obviously made the whole video on House of Ashes review. Let me just say, so I don't know the order of the videos, but I may have had a video on the next game already up, or it's on the second channel. So one of the two is going to happen. So check the channel or check the second channel, because there should be a video about the next game, kind of my quick thoughts on it. And I'm going to record that after this one, so I don't really know the plan. I'm actually recording this much later than I normally do this podcast on Friday, because I wanted to beat the game, which took me, again, like literally all day. Love says Scream with the 2 fire emojis. There's not too much to talk about with Scream that I want to seclude and put on this podcast. But let me just say a couple things about Scream. Number 1, I'm very excited for it. Number 2, I love the franchise. No, but well, one thing, I guess I can float this out here and see what you guys think as well. This is kind of just off the top of my head. Because normally this is about games, I would say, or like really big topics or really big things that happen during the week. And I'm not saying it can't be about movies. It can. I have thought before that for weeks that there is like a big thing like a Scream, let's say, that I could do a specific episode all about that. So, once we get into January, I would say, for Scream's movie, or really anything, maybe Uncharted, because boy, do I have a lot to say about that, or even Spider-Man, No Way Home, maybe that week's Save Point podcast. It will still be called it, but it'll just be, it'll be on that movie. So that's an idea that I have. But normally, besides that, it's mainly games. But that doesn't mean it has to be games. And I want to hear, if you guys don't like it just being games, you tell me. If you want it to only be games, you tell me. I'm here for you guys. And I know it's a smaller group of people that watch this, but at the same time, I think that makes it more important, because your voices can be heard. So you guys let me know what you want from the show. I'm here. I'm making these videos because of you. I don't want to stop. And so let me know, how you want the show to work. Nick Plays says, how about some Gotham Knights? Yeah, that's another one. That's a broad topic. There's really nothing there. But what I will say, DC Fandom was quite something. I had fun covering it. It was, my parents were in town, and they literally like took my daughter to like a park. My wife Christy was with my sister, like she went, so they were all doing things, coming like in and out. And I did DC Fandom, and I liked it, and I liked doing the videos. I hate the stupid WB needs to get their act together, because you may have seen it on Twitter, there's all these copyright things, all these problems on YouTube with the trailer for both the games, the new trailers for both games. They literally, if you show any part of it, not the whole trailer, unedited, start to finish, like 2.5 minutes. Not that. If you show literally a 10-second clip, they copyright it, and they say, oh, you can't make money off of this. And then you have to do a dispute. And the first day that they came out with these trailers, you had to dispute it. They rejected it, and then you had to appeal it, which actually can be a legal thing, like in court, or it can get a copyright strike on your channel. 3 of those and the channel's gone. Very dangerous game to play. Very annoying game to play with me and with other people. I know Jay, Degenerate Jay, he faced the same problems, and I make more videos, so it hit me more times than it hit him, but we were facing the same thing. Very annoying. So while I liked DC Fandom, and while I liked the trailers for the 2 things, well, number 1, I think DC Fandom as a whole was not good at all this year. Too many, I guess, gaps, or just like boring things. They could have easily cut a lot of the stuff out. I get it. They're for different people, but it's just, my opinion. I didn't like having to sit there for 3.5 hours when really, I covered 3 things. I only wanted 3 major things, and that was kind of it. There were other good things besides the 3, but ultimately, I think DC Fandom needs to change a little bit going into next year. But I'm excited for Gotham Knights. I want a goddamn release date, and we're just gonna have to wait a little bit. XViews says it's probably too late because you've most likely recorded. I'm a man of the people, buddy. But some things you could talk about are Xbox's next major acquisition. Who is it, and when will it be announced? The future of Supermassive Games based off the quality of their past couple games, and maybe for fun, you can do some release date predictions for games without ones, i.e. Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, Lego Star Wars. Well, there's a lot of questions, but I appreciate it. Well, let me try and go through it. Their next major acquisition. I feel, Major, meaning that's the tough one, right? Because like, do they go after Sega? Do they go after Konami? Do they go after I don't even know. The rumors of a few months ago was that they were going to buy somebody bigger than Bethesda. That hasn't happened. It sounds like that's not going to happen. Those people are just full of it, and that's really kind of it. But I could imagine them buying a small, but not really small, like a Crystal Dynamics. I could very easily see them purchasing them in the next little while. The team or Avalanche Studios, which are the makers of Just Cause, I could see that happening. But like next major acquisition, I feel like they're done for the time being. Maybe even for the year, but then it's going to keep going. So I would say those two are probably good ones. And then, again, like if they want to go big, could you buy maybe like a Square Enix, right? Is that something? I don't want, my opinion for that has always been, I've said it in videos, I don't want anybody buying the big guys. I've said that before, right? If Sony bought Bethesda, I would say the exact same thing. I don't like the idea of 2 or 3 companies owning all of them. So I don't want Microsoft to buy, like a Square Enix. I think that'd be very stupid. And again, I think it would overall probably hurt the gaming industry. So we'll just kind of leave it at that. The future is Supermassive. Like I said, see, actually, I didn't even read the thing yet, but I answered it earlier. Again, it's not what I would have done. I would not have decided to do 8 games in 4 years and then now 8 games in 8 years. I never would have picked that strategy. I would have honestly just kept making games like Until Dawn, which is what they're doing, but just giving myself 2, 3, 4 years and make a really big game like Until Dawn. That's what I would have done. I do think it'll catch up to them in like a negative way. You could argue it already did in the first game because like none of these have been to the quality. But like I said, each game is getting better. I really do believe that. And there's not much we can say about the new one. The devil made me do it, or the devil in me. I don't know why. I've actually convinced myself in my mind that it's the devil. Or isn't that The Conjuring? Was that the movie? Is that why I'm maybe saying that? The devil in me. It looks good. It looks good. So there's not too much you can say about that, right? But yeah, I would say the future of them, they're probably gonna need to slow down. And it's not even like they're pumping out Game of the Year contenders every year. That's the thing. So I liked House of Ashes quite a bit, but I can still be critical or I can still call it out. They still do have a lot of issues. They're not pumping out a Game of the Year every year. And you do a game every year, you're basically doing like a EA Sports or like Call of Duty. Technically, they don't do that though because there are different studios working on them, so they really do get 2 or 3 years each. I think they need a break. They need a break, a couple years, update your engine, make a new engine, whatever, borrow a license a new engine, whatever, and then keep going. And if you want to go back to yearly after that, but I do think at some point, and maybe it's after this next game, they'll take a couple years off. And by taking a couple years off, I mean a couple years without a release. They'll still be working, but so that's what I would do. That's what I would do. But I love them for Until Dawn. I'll always love them for that. And then the release date for games without ones, Gotham Knights. So I'll give release months. Gotham Knights, I'm gonna say April or May. That's kind of been my running thing with that. Suicide Squad. Oh boy, that's a tough one. Suicide Squad. I'll make the prediction that it still gets delayed. So I'll say 2023. Lego Star Wars. Hopefully May or June. So I could see Gotham Knights and Star Wars coming out like within a month or two of each other. I hope and I want that. Hogwarts Legacy. Oh boy. Hopefully November, I would say. So that's hopefully it. So yeah, I guess going into December, what I want to do, and I've done this before, December I want to do stuff like that as well. Kind of pick release dates for games that don't have any. Do a couple series of, are we going to see certain games next year that we haven't seen in a while. So that's my plan. So you guys can let me know, any other games you want to hear from, but I'll be doing that over the next couple months, let's say. So thank you all for writing in. Again, let me know in this video, let me know in the comments or, the community posts when I do them. Try to do them every Wednesday. So like Monday's normally a poll and then Wednesday's a community post. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. Back to being almost a 30-minute video. I like to kind of cap it there. I think 30 minutes is good enough for at least for now. Maybe we can go longer as we get bigger. But thank you all so much for watching. Remember, a new episode airs every single Saturday. Next week, don't really know. I know I did say it was going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, but I'll have news on that on Monday. I can't say anything yet, but we'll talk about it later. So I don't really know what next week's will be, but we'll figure it out as the week goes on. Let me know if you have any topics in mind. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next episode.